we're given a polynomial in factored form. We're going to identify the x-intercepts, the multiplicity on those intercepts, the behavior, whether it crosses the x-axis or bounces off. We're going to find the degree of the entire polynomial so that we can decide on its end behavior. Then we will sketch it. So to find the x-intercepts, since it's already factored, here's your 3 factors. All you're doing is setting each of these equal to 0 or flipping the sign of what's inside the parentheses. So when you have just a negative x squared, if you set that equal to 0, you would get 0. The multiplicity depends on the exponent. So since it's to the second power, the multiplicity is 2. When you have an even multiplicity, it's going to bounce off the x-axis. The next factor here, x plus 3, if I flip that sign, I would get negative 3. Because it's to the first power, the multiplicity would be 1. And because 1 is odd, it's going to cross the x-axis. Our last factor, x minus 2, which is to the first power, if you flip this, you get positive 2. The multiplicity is 1 because it's to the first power, and that's odd again, so it's going to cross the x-axis. The degree of the entire polynomial, you're going to add all of the exponents, so you have to the second, to the first, so that's a degree of 4. Looking at the leading coefficient, I noticed that the leading coefficient here is negative. So that means since our leading coefficient is negative and the degree is 4, the end behavior will have arrows pointing down on the left and the right hand side. So I'm going to point those down here on the left and the right hand side. So let's go ahead and graph. So starting with our x-intercepts, we have an x-intercept at 0. So here's 0, at negative 3, and then at positive 2. So taking a look at, we're going to start with the negative 3. It's going to cross the x-axis, so it's crossing there. At 0, it bounces off. So at 0, it touches and then bounces off. And then at 2, it's going to cross. So there's our sketch. And I'm going to write the end behavior in mathematical terms. So as x approaches infinity, so as you're moving along the x-axis, the y values are getting smaller. So f of x as your y values are approaching negative infinity. And as x approaches negative infinity, your y values again are decreasing. So f of x is approaching negative infinity.